Alright, ladies and gentlemen, I'm here on the Shinyo, and I'm here to talk about the NFL news. Remember the NFL news here from Schefter, Rappaport, if we have any from JPA football, and then I'll go over college football news from Pete Thamel, go over all the news there from today. So let's get right into the news. So let's start here. So Baltimore and Pittsburgh will be playing in Week 18 for the AFC North title. The Panthers play at Tampa in Week 18 for the NFC South title. So those were two games that were really official during the day until the night game. Determine will the NFC number 1 seed be up for grabs. Going up here. With the loss to the Giants yesterday, the Raiders now have an 80% chance to secure the number 1 overall pick. They host the Chiefs in Week 18. And with the Buffalo's loss yesterday, the Patriots clinched the AFC East title. They their first AFC East title since Tom Brady led them to one in 2019. The 49ers now are one win away from becoming the NFC's number 1 seed as they defeated Chicago last night. So they will play Seattle, battle for the number 1 seed. So we'll go over the key Week 18 games and the overall Week 18 schedule. So the Rams standout Myles Garrett said the Steelers were more worried about him than getting a win. I feel like they're more focused on not letting Myles Garrett get the record, just focused on him and nuke their entire offense. Was what it seemed like to me. But let's go over your key Week 18 games here. First, we'll go over the full schedule. So Saturday, Panthers at Bucks at 4:30. Seahawks at 49ers at 8. And then Sunday night, Baltimore at Pittsburgh. So those are your 3 conference title games. Notice how they put the Ravens on Sunday because it gives Lamar one more day of recovery. But hey, they got 3 conference titles, 3 division titles up for grabs. But your full Week 18 schedule: Panthers, Bucks, Seahawks, 49ers on Saturday. Sunday, Packers, Vikings, Browns, Bengals, Colts, Texans, Cowboys, Giants, Saints, Falcons, Titans, Jaguars. At 1 o'clock, 4:25, Chargers, Broncos, Chiefs, Raiders, Commanders, Eagles, Jets, Bills, Dolphins, Patriots, Cardinals, Rams, and then Lions, Bears. And then the Sunday night game, Ravens, Steelers. Sorry to brain fart there for a second. Yeah, that's your full Week 18 schedule. And Saturday has the doubleheader. Despite the Colts going 0-3 in his return, Philip Rivers has no regrets. Bears receiver Luke DeBurn, who was carted off the field after Sunday night's game, suffered a quad injury that is not thought to be serious. He'll undergo additional testing, obviously, but it's not expected to be serious. He did go down at the end of the game. I was kind of curious of what happened, but yeah, it was a quad. Thank God, nothing too serious. So I assume he's gonna play Week 18. Head coach Marcus Freeman announced he's staying at Notre Dame in 2026. NFL teams were interested in. We're going to talk more about that in the college football news portion. Lamar Jackson's status for Sunday night's game at Pittsburgh is, end quote, to be determined, per John Harbaugh. To be fair, I don't know if the Ravens really need him. Felt Huntley did a solid job, and King Henry is running really good. So I don't know what there is to determine. It's a must-win game. I don't know what there is to determine. Michael Parsons announced on IG that he's undergoing surgery today on his torn ACL. Chargers head coach Jim Harbaugh told reporters that Justin Herbert will not start Sunday versus Denver, so if the Broncos beat the Chargers, they lock up the number 1 seed in the AFC. No Jim Harbaugh. So yeah, they will be resting Justin Herbert and will be starting Trey Lance. So that's the news from Schefter. Let's go to Rappaport, see what we got here. Josh Johnson will start at Philly if Marcus Mariota's out. So it's looking like another week. It's looking like another week of Josh Johnson. So Max Crosby, Raiders coach Pete Carroll said, is back in the building today. Bears linebacker Noah Sewell has been a key part of the defense, especially with all the injuries to the position, as the believed to have torn his Achilles. Sources say he'll have an MRI to confirm. Unfortunate, because, man, he was really helping the big part of that defense with all the injuries. Let's go to JPA football here. So, Dan Orlovsky says that an MVP award, another Super Bowl, could cement Matthew Stafford as one of the all-time great quarterbacks. It's not ridiculous to say that. It's not ridiculous to say that. Not ridiculous to say that. Grass is green. But they ain't crazy to say that. A report in Rappaport says it's, end quote, doubtful that Pete Carroll will be back with the Raiders in 2026. Could be a one and done in Vegas, who will likely have the number 1 overall pick. I mean, you're trying to rebuild still. Pete Carroll's like 80 at this point. You need to get a younger coach in there. Dude, they'll be paying like 5 coaches in 2026. The Cowboys and pending free agent pass rusher Jadeveon Clowney have mutual interest and working on a deal to keep him in Dallas for 2026. Now they negotiate with an agent. But yeah, Jadeveon Clowney's actually been good. I think he has like what, five and a half sacks in the games he's played. So I'm not saying he's an every down edge rusher, but I think he'd be a good rotational piece. Andy Reid says he doesn't plan to retire and he wants to stay in Kansas City. Joe Mix is officially not returning this season, per a report. Man, report. Water is wet. Rumors Vikings defensive coordinator Brian Flores is expected to garner legitimate head coach interest this offseason, so I mean, I think he should get another head coaching opportunity. I think he might be probably the most interesting head coach cycle. One of the head coaching cycles. Could be interesting. Or this off-season of the head coaching cycle. Could be one of the most interesting hires. But that's really it for NFL news. Like, there's some here, but not too much. I got 8 minutes somehow out of this, so let's get to college football. We're going to go with Pete Thamel, all the news here. So Michigan quarterback Davis Warren tells ESPN he plans to enter the transfer portal. He's expected to have 2 years remaining after missing 2025 with a knee injury. He's expected to receive a medical red shirt. Michigan fans, oh no, anyways. Hey, he beat Michigan, so, or excuse me, he beat Ohio State, so he's a Michigan legend. So, North Texas QB Drew Mestemaker tells ESPN he's entering the transfer portal. He'll have 3 seasons of eligibility remaining. He led the nation both passing yards with 4,379 and passing touchdowns with 34. He also won the American Offensive Player of the Year and Burlsworth Trophy for top walk-on. I think he's going to go over to Oklahoma State, but I could be wrong. Billy Edwards Jr., Wisconsin quarterback, plans to enter the transfer portal. He's also going to is expected to receive a medical red shirt. Penn State is closing in on a deal to hire USC's D'Anton Lynn as their defensive coordinator. The sides have been in talks for weeks, with the buyout from USC looming as the issue holding up the hire. Cam Coleman, Auburn receiver, has told Auburn officials he plans to enter the transfer portal. He'll be at the top of the list for portal wide receivers. That's going to be huge because he's really good. Kentucky should definitely go after Cam Coleman. East Carolina is hiring former defensive coordinator Jordan Hawkins as the school's next DC. Also, he talked about Marcus Freeman. He indicated he'll be back at Notre Dame in 2026. He's been a hot name in the NFL cycle, so he's going to run it back with him in 2026. I didn't think he was going to go take an NFL job, honestly. Indiana will be getting a huge boost. They'll be getting back Omar Cooper Jr. Back to full speed for the Hoosiers. He's going to be at full availability. So some big news for Delaware. Star QB Nick Minsusi, or how the hell he say his name, was returning after finishing the regular season 6th in the nation in passing yards, leading Delaware to a 7-6 record this year. A reverse 6-7. And, so you know, say there. All Mountain West linebacker Owen Chambliss is entering the transfer portal. Eli Stowers is not playing against Iowa in the RailQuest Bowl. He's quitting. Or I'm sorry, opting out. I'll say opt out so these athletes' feelings won't get hurt. North Texas receiver Wyatt Young plans to enter the transfer portal as well. Drew Mestemaker, Wyatt Young. Kentucky is set to hire Oregon offensive staffer Parker Fleming as the team's new special teams coordinator and inside receivers coach. Oregon quarterback Austin Novosad intends to enter the transfer portal. He's a redshirt sophomore. He'll have 2 years remaining at his next stop. Yeah, he's definitely going to be a Wildcat. Kentucky Wildcat. Wayne Knight, James Madison running back, announced his plans to enter the transfer portal. I think I said this the other day. Okay, everyone says a group of 5 sucks, but then everybody's like, but then all these teams are like, oh yeah, let me get your quarterback here, let me get your running backs, your receiver, your defense, your coach, your coordinators, your water boy. Just saying. So, Kyle Whittingham, we talked about this last college football news video where he accepted the Michigan job. It's a 5-year deal at Michigan, averages $8.2 million per year. The deal is 75% guaranteed. He's expected to make $8 million in salary at Michigan in 2026. Anthony Calandria, UNLV quarterback, plans to enter the NCAA transfer portal as well. Alonzo Barnett, we already talked about him. I think I did. He's going to enter the transfer portal. There's going to be so many good players in the transfer portal, man. So from Hayes Fawcett, Penn State linebacker Keon Wiley plans to enter the transfer portal. Old Dominion starting corner Zon Frank is entering the transfer portal. South Dakota offensive lineman Jacob Arop is entering the transfer portal. Florida State offensive lineman Lucas Simmons is entering the transfer portal. North Texas edge Kavian Huddleston is entering the transfer portal. He appeared in all 13 games, led them in TFLs and sacks. North Texas is going to lose all of their team at this point. North Texas running back Jaden Bates plays in the transfer portal through 3 seasons. He totaled 1,000 yards and 13 touchdowns. He'll have 2 years of eligibility left. I just hate how all these Group 5 teams have this one good season and everybody transfers. Gavin Sawchuk, Florida State running backs, entering the transfer portal. Manasa Teddy, Florida State offensive lineman's entering the transfer portal. Ashlyn Barker's going to enter the transfer portal. UConn quarterback Nick Evers plans to enter the transfer portal. North Texas running back Mackenzie McGill's entering the transfer portal. JMU starting O-lineman Carter Swayze's entering the transfer portal. We already talked about Wyatt Young. LSU also tackles playing in the transfer portal. Caleb Hawkins, North Texas star running back, plays to enter the transfer portal, becomes one of the top players in the portal immediately. Running back, also North Texas running back Ashton Gray is playing to enter the transfer portal. They got their 2 top freshmen entering the transfer portal. Caleb Hawkins is definitely the biggest name here, for sure. There's just so many players in the transfer portal, man. And, yeah, that's really all I say for this video. NFL and college. Just really football news video here. So, yeah, that's really all I got to say here. So, leave a like, subscribe for more. Next time out. Peace.